work here? Okay, so not ideal, but we'll roll with it anyways. How does that sound? Sound good? How can I save for school, and what scholarship should I look at? I'm saving for traveling. Okay, awesome. We're going to touch on all of these things for sure. So keep those comments coming. Feel free to jump in on video, or feel free to pop questions in the comments there. So there we go. We've already kind of done that first slide, so we will move through that pretty quickly. Like I said, gap years come in all different budget sizes. So please don't think that if you have a budget of $500, you're going to have a crappy gap year, or that if you need to earn money that you're going to have a crappy gap year. It's not true. So if you have $1 million to spend on your gap year, kudos to you. Go enjoy it. Have fun. It does not mean you're going to have a better or a worse gap year depending on the size of your budget. So just rest assured there are things that you can do no matter what the budget is and no matter what you're thinking of. And that really, it is whatever your budget is, let's roll with it. Let's find those activities. Let's find those resources that will make it the best year possible. So here are the steps to budgeting for your gap year. The first thing, like I said in my presentation from before, we're going to talk about goal setting and the importance of your goals throughout. So step number one is you really need to know what your goals are, because that is going to inform your decision making, everything from what activities you choose to what you're going to do with your budget. So know your goals first and foremost, hands down the most important thing that you're going to do. The second thing is to know what your budget is. So actually think about it. How much money do you have available to you, and how much money are you going to earn? All of these things are really important. But how do we actually put some sort of number to that? How do we start with looking at that? I love that you're thinking about all of those things that you want to balance. So let's look at this. So when we're doing our budgeting, we got to start with, where is the money coming from when we're coming up with that number of what we have. So are you going to be working, and what is your approximate earnings? How much are you going to be able to make? So do a little bit of math there. What are you going to be able to earn? Do you have any money saved up for your gap year? Maybe you worked in grade 12. Maybe you've been saving up your birthday money, whatever that is. Are your parents contributing? Add that number in. Have they told you what the budget is that they are supporting you with? Put that in there. Add up all these numbers. Think about any cash gifts that might be coming in. Maybe as a graduation present, you were given some money, or maybe for your birthday, instead of asking for presents, you ask for cash to put towards a gap year experience. Think about all of these ways that it's coming in. But also think about being creative. How else can you get that influx of cash, that increase your budget? Think about air miles and loyalty points. So does somebody in your family have tons of Aeroplan miles that are going to expire that you could get a free plane ticket with, or somebody could gift you a plane ticket? Maybe somebody has a TD travel visa that has all these points that maybe you could use. So think about those other things that could contribute to it. Think about fundraising. Can you, I don't know, do you make jewelry that you could sell to earn some money? Could you do a bake sale? And all of these things seem a little bit silly when you first think about it, but reality is maybe you're part of a dance community that would really be interested in supporting you, or maybe you have a faith community that would really support you. And being able to do these things consistently can bring in a good amount of cash. I've also seen crowdfunding go really well for people's gap year. So if you think maybe you've got 10 friends, and if each of them give you $20, like that's $200 towards your gap year, which can be really great. And I've seen people use GoFundMe sites and create different tiers for donations. And so maybe if you're saving up for a trip, if somebody donates $20, they get a postcard from the road. If they donate $100, they get a video from the road. If they donate $200, they get a souvenir from the road, or something like that, where you create these tiers and people can donate to you. That can be a really fun way to earn some extra money for it. And if you have a large network of people, it can be really beneficial to set something up like that. And then non-cash gifts. So if you've got a birthday coming up, maybe you want to ask them to support buying a camera like Jigger started out with. If you want to get into photography, or maybe if you want to travel, you need a backpack, or you are big into the outdoors, you need a pair of hiking shoes. So thinking about you leveraging those times throughout the year where you typically receive gifts, how can you actually use them in a way that you can take something out of your budget and do that. And then look at scholarships. So like I said before, in the expo, there are 2 booths that talk about scholarships. So there's the RBC Future Launch Scholarship. That's $1,500, $1,500 that they give out for skill development that is non-tuition based. So this is something that's really, really important that you do. Lots of people that we know, part of our game plan last year, got money for travel. They got money for starting businesses. So if that's something you're interested in, that's a really great place to start. And we at CanGap are giving away 2 $1,000 scholarships in October that can help you to pay for your gap year experiences. So there's a booth about that in the expo. So go check out those 2 booths. We'll be giving you more information about the scholarship as well at the end of this presentation. So if that's something you're into, for sure. Dylan, you want to know about Karun? Yeah, so he made $83,000 on his gap year, and he basically worked full time. And that's exactly what he did. He worked for a bank in their call center. And I can't remember what the second job was, but they were entry-level positions, and he worked hard. He did well, and he was able to work those 2 jobs and make a significant amount of money. Now, he didn't have a lot of external things that he wanted to do. His goal was to buy his parents a house. And so he just devoted his time to earning money. So he put in lots of hours working, but he did a really, really great job. So you can check out the YouTube channel and listen to his story about how he did it. He shares all of the things that he got up to and what he learned from it, and how you can maybe replicate that if earning money is the goal for your gap year. Thanks for sharing. So now that we've kind of added up where all that money is coming in, okay, so Jessica, the question is, the scholarship, is it only for people who are starting with CanGap in April, or does it apply to people who have started already? So you have to be going on a gap year of September 2023. So even if it's your second gap year, that's fine. But from September onwards, you need to be on your gap year. Great question. Okay, so let's say you've added up all of those numbers, all of the things where you think your money is coming in, and you've done a really thorough look and you feel pretty good about that number. Then you need to go into the scary spot of how much do things cost? So where is the money going to go? So first of all, if you need to save up for school, how much do you need to save up? Put that number right at the top, because that money is untouchable and everything else will become the icing on the cake. So write down what that is. The next thing is, what are any bills you have? Do you have to pay for your cell phone? Do you have insurance on your car? Do you have gas? Things like that. Then start plunking in all of the other things that you want to do on your gap year. So is there travel that you want to do? Is there a program you want to join? Are there courses you want to take? Is there gear you need to buy? So think about all of those things and plunk that into the list. Now, don't censor yourself. Don't second guess yourself. Don't hold back. Put down all of the things, and think about all of the other things like insurance, the timing of your flight, because if you want to go to Australia in March, maybe you need to buy your ticket now. So instead of thinking, oh, I've got until March to buy that ticket, just think about that a little bit. Yeah, so all those things add up. So now when you do this, you are going to have 2 numbers that are so completely off. You're going to have this, we'll call it a teeny tiny budget just for funsies. And then you're going to have this big wish list. So I forget who was talking about it there, but all of the programs that cost $6,000, was it Fawn? Yeah, Fawn. You're going to have 2 numbers that do not match up. And that is normal. That is okay, because the next step that we have to do is, how do we fit them together? So this is really important. Now we got to figure out, how do we make those numbers come closer together? And so that's going to be your next step. is how are you going to make this balance it? So one way to do that is to increase the amount of money that you have available to you. So maybe you need to work more hours. Maybe you need to find a job that has a higher pay rate. So instead of working minimum wage at the grocery store, maybe you're going to look for a factory job that's going to pay you $25 an hour. So looking at that. Maybe you want to look at delaying your date. So instead of traveling to Australia in March, maybe you want to go in June, even though that's their winter. So thinking about those types of things can help you with that budget. And then finding scholarships and opportunities that are out there. So there is so much money from those $6,000 programs, so much money in scholarships. So even, for example, if you wanted to join the Gap Year Accelerator or the Gap Year Game Plan, we have scholarships available to get you in for free. All you have to do is ask. And that's the same with a lot of these programs. Maybe not for free, but they have lots of subsidies to be able to help you afford these things. So finding those scholarships is so, so, so important. So asking from programs, from courses, if they have scholarship or financial aid, that is so important. I can't tell you how many organizations have money that goes unspent because people are not claiming all of this financial aid. So ask what financial aid do they have available to them. Think about maybe going for a shorter time. So if you wanted to go for 3 months, maybe that budget is too much. Let's bring it down to maybe 3 weeks. That can really help bring budgets into perspective. Maybe you want to go to a different location. So instead of going to Australia, maybe that price tag is too much. Maybe you want to go to Arizona and switch up where you want to go because that can really change things. Maybe you want to work while you're abroad. So maybe you want to go somewhere else, but instead of going as a tourist and spending money, maybe you're going to go and you're actually going to earn money while you are traveling. And that's what's happening over in the IEC booth, learning how to get a visa to work in another country on your gap year. And maybe you just want to do it in another activity altogether. So Kathy, you talk about delaying dates. Yeah. So thinking about the things where if you wanted to travel in December, you would have to probably pay for things now. And maybe you don't have enough money saved up quite yet. So maybe that experience you were hoping to have in December needs to get moved to June. So you have more months and hours to work and earn money in order to be able to afford that particular experience that you were hoping from. So ask for compassionate pricing. So check out their website. They usually have some sort of little bullet that says financial aid or scholarships or bursaries, or some organizations have their own foundation. So look and see if they have something like that on their website. Some organizations have scholarships and bursaries that are needs-based. So if you have financial need, and the reality is every young person has financial need, or some of them are merit-based. So let's say you have lots of volunteer hours or you had really good grades, maybe you can earn that money as well. Great questions. Keep them coming. So let me give you an example of what I talk about how to make these balance and why it's so important to know your goals first off. So let's say one of the things you want to do on your gap year is to go to France for 3 months. Maybe that's your goal. So what you need to do is you need to know your why. So why do you want to go to France for 3 months? And I've given 3 examples here. So maybe you want to go to France for 3 months because you want to just be a tourist in France. France has always interested you. You want to be a tourist. Sounds really great. Second reason maybe you want to go to France was that you wanted to learn the culture. Maybe you've always been interested in French culture and that's something you want to explore a little bit more. Or 3, maybe you wanted to learn the French language. So we're going to kind of do 3 case studies here. So you wanted to go to France for 3 months, but you don't have the budget for that. So how do we make that possible? We look at the different ways that we can change that 3 months in France. So maybe you just wanted to be a tourist in France. The simple answer is instead of going for 3 months, go for 3 weeks because you're going to be eating less, your accommodations are going to be less, your flights are going to stay the same, but everything else involved in that trip is going to be cut down significantly. So changing the length of your trip, if that was your why, you just want to get to France, that's one way of making it more budget friendly. Maybe you wanted to become, maybe you wanted to be really immersed in the culture. Maybe that was your goal. You think French culture is so interesting. It's something that's always been, you wanted to live like a French person. Maybe that was your why. And if that's your why, maybe instead of going for a tourist for 3 months, maybe you want to go and be an au pair. So you actually want to go and work in France in childcare, and you actually get to live with a French family, and you get to go on vacation with a French family, and you are basically a live-in nanny, but you are fully immersed in the French experience. So you get to go grocery shopping with the family, you get to go to the park with the family, you drop the kids off at school, and if the family goes on vacation to the south of France, you get to go with them. So that's a way that you can meet the goal of being immersed in French culture, but make it financially viable because you're being paid for the childcare that you're giving. But let's say your why for going to France for 3 months was to actually learn the language. Maybe you always wanted to learn French or improve your French. That if that's your why, then maybe you don't have to go to France. Maybe you can do something more locally. So the example I've given here is the Explore program. The Explore program is subsidized by the government, and so I think it's for $500, you get a 5-week immersion program somewhere in Canada, and they pay for your accommodation, they pay your tuition, they pay for all the experiences that you have, and you get this 5-week immersion program to improve your French. It's incredible. There's a booth in the expo about the Explore program. If that's something that sounds interesting to you, check it out. To become an au pair. Yes, au pair world. So if you just Google au pair and the country that you want to be in, there are tons of organizations that will help get you set up in childcare. So whether it's in France or Germany, or it's really big in Europe, that would probably be the best places to check that out. But if you just Google it, there are organizations that will help you do that and work abroad. So check that out. Yeah, it's called au pair, AUPAIR. Very, very common in Europe. Okay, so now that we've done the work to make those things balance, you just have to be patient and flexible, because if you want to make your dreams come true, we can't set our sights on something that is so far outside of our budget that we're not going to be able to achieve it. So I want you to really think about that, that you need to be patient and flexible and work with it. And if you need extra help, that's what we at CanGap are here for, because we know all of these organizations. We know their price tags. We know if they have scholarships. So don't hesitate to reach out to us with your goals so we can help you work through that and figure that out. And that's a big piece of what we do for CanGap. And in the Gap Year Accelerator and in the Gap Year Game Plan, we help you build that plan for the entire year. So it's called the Official Languages Program in the Expo. So OLP, it's purple and teal are the colors that the Expo booth is all about. So they have the Explore program and the Odyssey program. So I think you can actually look up, I think it's called EnglishFrench.ca. Is their website, so you can head there too. But the booth will give you more information right in there. So I would go through the Expo. Like I said, we do have these scholarship applications coming up. They're closing at the end of the month. So if you want to be considered for that scholarship, 100% go to cangap.ca/scholarship or go to it through the booths that we have in the expo all about it. We've got some really, really powerful stuff happening there. So would love to see all of your names on the application for that, because I think you guys are all make incredible candidates and would love to bestow that on you. And if you win it, you actually get access to the Gap Year game plan as well as you get to become a Gap Year ambassador and share your story. So would love to have you there. Tons of great stuff. I hope I gave you some ideas of what's going on. If you already speak French, can you still do the program? Yes. So the first thing they do is they do a language level assessment to see how proficient you are in French, and then they place you with people with a similar level of proficiency. If you are complètement bilingue, le programme Odyssey, ça veut dire qu'on travaille comme une institutrice de langue, quelqu'un qui aide dans leur deuxième langue. So if you are bilingual, you can do the Odyssey program as well. Ah, merci, merci. Moi, j'ai fait le programme Explore. Alors, moi, je suis alum du programme Explore. Alors, je le sais très bien. J'ai fait mes études à Québec, dans la ville de Québec. Puis, j'ai travaillé comme guide touristique à Québec. C'était super. Ça a complètement changé ma vie. C'est super. C'est un excellent programme. Si vous avez des questions, vous pouvez m'écrire dans Discord. Je peux répondre à vos questions selon le programme Explore. There you go. All right, I got to jump in because we are...